No one believed us, until the scoutmaster saw it too. A man with a sack on his head, circling our tents with a knife. At 2 a.m. This experience happened many years ago. I'm 23 now, but I grew up a scout. I started with the Cub Scouts, then transitioned to the Boy Scouts, and eventually earned the accomplishment of becoming an Eagle Scout. Throughout my years as a scout, I've been on countless campouts. Many friends came and went as kids quit the Scouts throughout the years. But one friend who stuck it through the whole way with me was Justin. Me and Justin were in the same grade, and we were close friends. At the time of this experience, we were both going to be entering 10th grade, 15 years old. As weird as it sounds, I honestly don't even remember what park we were camping out at. It was just too long ago. As soon as everybody had arrived, Scoutmaster Davis led the group on our hike to the campsite. After setting up our tents and having a quick snack, Scoutmaster Davis led us on another hike as the sun was starting to set. He liked to take us on hikes in the dark, as he thought it taught good directional skills. On the way back, we had to use our flashlights since it was getting too dark. Mr. Davis played a little game to mess with the younger kids, acting like we were lost and they had to find the way back. He had one of the younger kids start to lead the way back, but the kid soon froze in his tracks and looked to Mr. Davis, claiming he heard something. Mr. Davis acted all forest rangery, stepping forward and making a listening motion. Me and Justin laughed out loud, and he shooshed us. There was another sound, a very obvious step, from a larger creature in the distance. Kids were shining their flashlights all over the place. Mr. Davis assured us it's okay as long as we make a lot of noise to keep any potential predators away. I got to admit, it was a bit scary hearing him say that Mr. Davis led the way back from there on out. But on several occasions, either me, Justin, or some other kid would point out steps coming from behind us. Clearly something was following us. Mr. Davis told us to just stay with the group and not to refrain from making noise. We got back to the campsite where we cooked a couple turkeys, popped open a few cans of corn, and then sat around the campfire where Mr. Davis began telling his famous stories. However, it was interrupted by footsteps circling around the campfire. Scouts started turning around, looking into the woods. Even the scoutmasters looked at each other. Assistant Scoutmaster Roberts hopped up, said, "All right, this will scare him off," and went for the gun in his tent. He pulled out his rifle and fired a shot into the air. We didn't hear any more footsteps after that. After a whole hour of listening to Mr. Davis's stories, Scouts started heading to their tents. Me and Justin were in the same tent, and knowing how early the Scoutmasters made us get up, we didn't really joke around for too long. The only sounds now were the crickets and the crackling of the fire outside. I fell asleep quickly, given how exhausted I was from all the hiking, but woke up to Justin nudging me. When my senses came to, I listened and heard footsteps coming from outside the tent. The campfire was still lit outside, and it created a glow on the tent walls. But it also allowed us to see the shadow outline of what was outside a person, I whispered. "So what? It's probably someone just going to take a piss." He told me to open the zipper and peek outside. I did what he said, and to my horror, there was some heavy-built man with a sack over his head and a ripped working shirt, very clearly holding a big knife. He was walking around some of the other tents. I zipped the opening back up and told Justin to be quiet. We had no phones or anything, so we couldn't call one of the scoutmasters. All we could do was wait. We couldn't tell if or when the man had left. We just sat there for what felt like hours waiting, and eventually we fell asleep. We awoke to one of the scoutmasters blowing that stupid wake-up horn. Me and Justin were surprised that we even fell asleep given the situation. But we immediately went to go tell our scoutmasters what we saw. All three of them took our claims very seriously and wanted to make sure we weren't joking. They had no choice but to tell everyone to pack up and call their parents to get a ride home within 3 hours. Now this is the really weird part. Two of the younger kids in the group had their entire bags stolen, which mainly contained their clothing. When the scoutmasters went to investigate around their tents, we were all disturbed to see that there had been tiny holes carved into the tents, big enough for someone to look into, and that's exactly what the holes were for. The scoutmasters reported the incident to the town in which the park resides. It still horrifies me, given how real the situation was for me, that somebody literally followed us into the middle of the woods, spied on 211 or 12-year-old kids while they slept, stole their clothes, and did whatever else. Thankfully, nobody was hurt, but the incident overall hurt the group, as some parents refused to allow their kids to go on any more campouts. It's said that some sick people out there can really ruin things. A lot of other people. But first, did you know that 98% of people who watch my videos aren't subscribed? That means you. And yes, I am speaking specifically to you. Probably aren't. So now would be a great time to leave a like on the video and subscribe. Anyhow, I'm a 15-year-old Boy Scout from Houston, Texas. A while back, my troop flew out to Denver, Colorado, and from there, we drove about 45 minutes to this place called Camp Alexander, near Colorado Springs. Me and 4 other guys from our troop were part of the camp's high adventure program, which meant we spent our days doing things like mountain climbing and whitewater rafting. We were 4 days in, and so far, everything had gone pretty smoothly. That night, we set up our tents by the Arkansas River, since we'd be rafting in it the next morning. Now I don't sleep well in sleeping bags. Every night on this trip, I'd been waking up drenched in sweat, and that night was no different. I woke up around 3:45 a.m., my face stuck in a puddle of drool, sweating like crazy. Figured I'd step outside for a bit to cool off. I threw on a t-shirt and shorts, unzipped my tent, and stepped out. The opening of my tent faced right toward the river, and that's when I saw something that stopped me cold. There was someone standing in the middle of the river. They were facing downstream, waist deep in freezing cold water. I'm talking 30 to 40 degrees, and shirtless. At first, I was just confused. Then I realized it was my friend. Let's call him Dalton. I called out his name twice before he finally moved. He slowly turned to look at me, then looked around like he had no idea where he was. Then he yelled out, "What the fuck?" and bolted back to shore. I rushed to get him a towel and shirt and asked him what the hell he was doing out there in the river at 4 in the morning. He said he had no clue. He told me he had literally just woken up to me yelling at him, while already standing in the river. To this day, I still don't know how he ended up there. Maybe he was sleepwalking? He swore he'd never done that before. No one believed us the next morning, so we just brushed it off and didn't talk about it again. But I've thought about it a lot since. Because If I hadn't woken up that night and stepped out of my tent, Dalton might not have made it till morning. This is a short but terrifying true story from when I was 13 years old. I was one of the quieter kids in my Boy Scout troop. Not exactly shy, but I didn't really click with anyone in the group. It was October 2008, our last campout of the season. The weather was chilly, which actually made the endless hiking a little easier to handle. Turns out it would be my last campout ever, and you're about to understand why. During one of the hikes, I was lagging behind like I usually did. At one point, I really had to pee, so I let the group move ahead and ducked behind a tree. That's when I nearly had a heart attack. Out of nowhere, I heard a loud thud hit the ground nearby. Not like a branch falling, it was heavier. It sounded like something stepping hard into the leaves. My brain froze. I had no clue what it was, but it freaked me out. I ran to catch up with the group and didn't say a word. I didn't want to sound crazy. Now fast forward to that night. We each had our own tents, me included. I tried to fall asleep as fast as I could. Everything was quiet until I heard this weird noise. It sounded like breathing, almost like it was coming from a phone, and it seemed to be coming from inside my backpack. I started digging through it and found this heavy walkie-talkie. Only, I never packed a walkie-talkie. Then, a deep, muffled voice came through it. "I'm watching you, kid." I froze. Then I pressed the talk button and said, "Who is this?" No answer, just static. So I tried again. "Is this Mike?" Silence. Then, "I'm right outside your tent." Right then, the side of my tent pushed inward, like something or someone was pressing against it from outside. I lost it, screamed like a little kid. Whoever it was took off into the woods, fast. 2 of the scoutmasters came running. I could barely speak, but I managed to show them the walkie-talkie and explain what had happened. They assumed it was just one of the other kids messing around and gave everyone a lecture. But when I calmed down, I told them straight up, the voice was too deep. It wasn't one of us. After that, they made us double up in tents. The next day, we packed up and moved to a different campsite with another troop nearby. I never found out what they did with that walkie-talkie. Honestly, I didn't care. I was freaked out, embarrassed, and just wanted to go home. I begged my parents to let me quit Boy Scouts, and they did. To this day, that's the scariest thing I've ever experienced. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more amazing video. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any updates. All right, that's it for today. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.